Oh, has he been? Merry Christmas. Welcome to Talking Bottom. I'm Matt Brooks.
I'm Paul Santa,
And I'm Ange Pearson.
and we've taken some time off from wrapping our sprouts and getting our big ones out in the run up to Christmas to get together and just do a little. I guess it's a happy Christmas episode. It's a roundup of the year. I mean,
Yeah, being a
we're
busy one for us. A lot of ups and
yeah,
downs, but
yeah.
we're
I
on
was,
and up at the moment for sure.
it occurred to me that I think that this past year that we've had has probably been the busiest we've had in terms of outside of sitting down to write the book. It's probably been the busiest in terms of what's happened with the podcast and the book. I mean,
Hmm.
there's definitely been some highs and lows, hasn't there?
Yes. So let's
Yeah,
let's
without a doubt. Yeah,
should we do a
we
quick overview?
let's go through from
Yeah.
January to March.
January to March, no news.
Well, I would
Book
say.
coming out soon, right? That excitement.
So what I would say is that if we look back to this time last year or at the beginning of the year, at that point we had long since submitted our manuscript to Unbound. They'd had it for the best part of a year. We were deep through the editing process. We'd heard through the grapevine that Unbound had put a freeze on new commissions, but we didn't know what was up with that. What was up with the company or anything like that. And as we went through the early months of the year, we were doing things like they were sending us suggestions for a cover, which was dog shit.
Yeah,
If you remember,
yeah.
I'm sure.
It
I'm
was.
sure. I think we'll share that on socials at
Well,
some
I'll tell
point.
you what. It's in the book. It's one of the pictures in the book, actually.
Well,
But
well,
that
well,
which is fine for a picture in the book, but not for our cover. It was
yeah. I mean,
based on that at least, I
the
should
thing
say.
it's based on is in the book. So
Yeah,
yeah, they wanted to do a front cover based on the bottom 93, the first bottom live show
tour flyer. Yeah,
tour flyer, which is lovely and great, and works for bottom.
As a tour flyer, it works. But what was incredible was they didn't actually consult us whatsoever, and then presented us with the design, didn't they?
yeah, and
But
with
yeah,
the tone of this is great, isn't it? Do you
yeah.
approve?
Well,
Yes, of course you do. Moving
when
on. All three of
when
us
they
were.
sent it, I remember the email they sent. It included the words. I'm paraphrasing here, but it's the words were along the lines of, we really all love this in the office. And
Yeah,
as soon as I read that, before I even saw what it was, I knew it was going to be dog shit. Because they were obviously just trying to build it up. And so we went through those first few months. I think was that us going through basically telling them how to do the front cover properly, and Ange getting your husband
Well,
Stephen to mock one
yeah.
up, to send to them, which is
Thank
pretty much what
goodness.
they used in the end, wasn't it?
Thank goodness my husband is a designer, and we were able to actually articulate what we thought was a much better idea, which was to pay homage to the VHS of the bottom live. If we're going to
mhm.
pay homage to something, let's do it to a really iconic cover rather than a flyer that no one apart from who went to that particular tour might
Yeah.
remember.
Sellout tour,
Um,
but in the grand scheme of things, who remembers that flyer, right?
yeah, well,
Yeah,
we put it in the thing is that will have come from the fact we have it in the book. So the designer would have thought, oh, this must be, something that's really worthy of
Mm.
reading, copying, homaging, because that's what we had in the book, didn't we? We found that. Who was that we found that or was donated that image to
Was
us?
that
Was
Rik
it?
Mayall scrapbook? Maybe.
well, no, the flyer was
Yeah.
designed by Phil McIntyre Entertainment.
But I was just like, it's not like an iconic piece of
No,
bottom
It's meant to
uh,
be
work. So
rare. It's rare. That's why it's in the
it
book.
it was
yeah.
rare. It was rare, and there was no fee to pay for it as well.
Ha.
Well, that's what I wondered where it came from, whether it was Rik Mayall scrapbook or whether it was via Andy
Well,
Hollingworth's archive.
the flyer itself, I've got one or two of those flyers I've bought off eBay before, so I've seen them before.
Right.
I just thought it was
They're out in the wild.
because the bottom tour was such a big thing. I mean, like
Mm.
it was for the back of the flyer as much as the front, really, that showed all the dates and all the places they went to. And for a sitcom at the time, not written sitcom, there weren't really sitcoms doing that, so that they were kind of groundbreaking in that regard. I know that
Pioneers for it, kind
other
of.
other TV shows had done live versions, but the bottom one was really kind of barnstorming in that regard. So I
Mm.
thought that was a good addition to the picture plate section of the book. And as I say, it
Yeah,
was
we're not
free. It
just
was
not
free.
disputing,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
disputing that. Just I think the designer obviously
Mm.
had that at their disposal, and they thought, I bet they're going to love this if we
Mm.
if we turn the front cover into this snot green thing that says it's starring Rick and Aid.
Yeah, it said on
Um,
the book cover, starring Rik and Aid. Like the book
Yeah.
starring them? What does that mean?
I think you know what I think maybe on maybe we'll share it on 1st of April because that feels like the appropriate time to share that particular cover.
Well, I don't know. I mean, now we've talked about it, we probably should put it out as a little bit of fun around Snot
Yeah.
Green Christmas with your Brussels sprouts.
But anyway, should we move
so,
on because there's
so
a lot more?
yeah. So we worked on the book cover, and we were approaching, like we were several months from the release of the book, where we then got the news, and we talked about this before, so we don't need to go into huge detail about it. But we got the news from Unbound. We were told, firstly, hey, your book's being saved. We're
Going into administration, changing our company.
We're going
your
into administration.
Saved.
Yeah. We're forming Boundless. You're okay. An hour later, we got another email saying, "You guys are fucked. We're not going to do your book." So,
Yeah,
so we rallied.
The below email in error.
Yeah. So we rallied. We tried to maintain cool heads and not run around like headless chickens. And we put together a case for why they should keep the book, and we put it forward to them, and they accepted it, and they said they would print it. So we went through into May and June, where we had the Rik Mayall Comedy Festival, where we were fortunate to literally, as we arrived at the festival, on the Friday that we arrived, which was the next day, was the Saturday, we were doing our show with Ed By, Bottom's director. And at the pub that day was the first copies of the book that we'd seen, the first printed versions, because we'd asked them to send some directly there so we could sell them to people. Obviously, they were due to go out later on that month to our backers anyway. But we wanted to try and, flog as many copies as possible. It was
the place to do it, isn't it?
Well, we were one of the reasons we were booking ourselves for the Rik Mayall Comedy Festival was obviously to be a part of the festival, which was wonderful, but also because we had the book coming out, and we hoped we'd have it in time to do that, and celebrate the moment. And it was wonderful because Ed was obviously, he wrote, well, not obviously, but if you don't know, he wrote our foreword for the book. It was great to have him sign the book after we did our live podcast. So the live podcast was a real milestone of this year. It was
real highlight, wasn't it?
Yeah, and we'd never challenged ourselves to do that. We'd never ever, I never certainly thought that we'd ever do a live one. So it was a real kind of step out of the comfort zone, but it was worth it. It was great
to be able to be. We were in a room with about two. I mean, the room was a sellout show. We were very lucky. Our show sold up really quickly on the day the tickets went on sale. Yeah,
and to know that was the first ever stage Rik performed on.
Yeah,
as a child actor, because that was where his parents worked on their acting, and it was also part of the community there. Really special, beyond special. So that was a highlight.
Could Ed By have possibly been nicer? Genuinely, no. He could. He gave so much more of his time than he had any reason to. We kind of sprung the book signing on him a bit, and he was like, "Yeah, of course." No, I think like he assumed he would have. I already assumed I was heavily involved. What do you mean? Of course I'm going to be there. Lovely man.
Because we hadn't been sure we could do a book signing at the pub until the 11th hour when we asked the pub, didn't we? So that's why it was last minute. It was kind of, can we do this here? And they said yes, but that was all once we'd arrived, wasn't it? So that was the reason it was a kind of last minute thing rather than any other reason. But because we weren't sure the books were going to arrive until they were there on the was it literally the day before?
Day before, I think they arrived on either the Thursday evening or the Friday morning, and we got there Friday afternoon, and there they were.
Some people may be asking and questioning, why would we doubt that the books would arrive? What reason did we have to doubt Unbound?
We knew that at that point there were rumblings that there was trouble, weren't we? We were we were aware.
But the books arrived, and we thought, okay, hopefully this new company Boundless seems to know what they're doing, and so we did the festival, and it was great, and we went through June into July with a kind of renewed sense of hope and happiness.
A lot of the books went out. A lot of them got issued. We had the 3rd of June. We had all of June, and then on the 3rd of July, we had our book launch, and we were aware that they'd started sending out the books ahead of that time from the warehouse, because people were actually receiving them, weren't they? Our book backers.
Our backers, I think, maybe like 10 days before publication, the publication date, was starting to report, hey, it's arrived. And we were like, oh, great. Like massive sigh of relief. Oh, good. People are starting to receive it. Thank God. All is right in the world. And
it was great, but it was also a bit tricky because not everyone was receiving theirs. So there was a lot of people saying, well, hang on a minute, how come we haven't got ours yet? And we were assured they were being sent out in batches.
But then as we were getting to publication day, as well as more people still saying, I haven't received it yet, which we thought, well, I'm sure it will go out. We were also starting to hear from some bookshops, oh, hey, we're trying to stock it, but we can't seem to stock it. And it turned out that Unbound hadn't printed a huge, what one would hope for one's first book print run. So they printed enough for the backers, but they hadn't done a huge amount for the book market. So those ones sold out quickly. And the ones that were supposed to be sent out to the backers, only 2/3 of them were sent out. And then lo and behold, about 4 weeks after our book was released, Boundless then also went into administration or liquidation or whatever the term is. Basically, the company went tits up.
Liquidation, like properly, no going back.
So, and at that point, that company was no more. So then, we were then in a position of, okay, shit, our book is now not published anymore, or the first version's published out there, but it's sold out quickly.
We have liquidized your assets.
With how many people still waiting for a book? 500
odd. Yeah, there's still about 500.
532, I seem to have emblazoned in my brain. Yeah.
So we came to, we had a bit of a tussle back and forth with Little Dart Fulfillment, who are based in Dartmouth, who they decided that they had some kind of legal claim over the remaining books, the people that we had there in their warehouse. They thought that they could just keep them and maybe sell them.
We should preface this as obviously they had been done over by Unbound stupendously, because it wasn't just our books and they hadn't been paid to send those out, and so they were owed a lot of money. So I think they were kind of clutching at any way they could right, possibly.
And in the end, we managed to convince them that was not the thing. But we then had to still pay them.
Crappy deal.
We had to pay them a load of money to send the stuff out. Eventually, we got all of those out to people. And while that was happening, we thankfully found a new publisher with the. Oh no! So you know what? I'm getting ahead here. While we were trying to sort that, we went to Edinburgh.
We went to Edinburgh
because we'd had that booked for ages as another way of trying to promote a book that we had. That we had planned to be promoting.
But we were in a weird position of then promoting a book that isn't on sale anymore. And we had some physical copies that we could flog after the show.
We literally had about, 50 books or something at the end. Yeah. And Lee, of course, it was wonderful to do a live podcast with Lee Corns. If anyone listening still hasn't watched, by the way, it's on YouTube. That and Ed By at the Rik Mayall Comedy Festival. And we really hope that anyone who was in the room and also anyone who's watched it since on YouTube agree that it was worthwhile us doing the live chat, despite the fact that obviously it was very costly going to Edinburgh.
For me, it was great to be back in a room with Lee, asking him more stuff about his career and working on bottom of stuff. I know we'd interviewed him before, but this wasn't just a rehash of that interview. It was, it was a great, further insightful chat and exploration into his career, but also it was fantastic to be up there doing it at the Edinburgh Festival Fringe as well, because that's a sort of, that's a bit of a bucket list thing as well. So I was really pleased to be able to do both of those. Yeah.
And to play clips in the room, I think we've said it before on our look back, on Ed By, but it was wonderful to actually hear the laughter at clips chosen of Rik and Aid obviously going at each other in the bathroom fight and all of that side of things. The frustrating thing is that on YouTube we can't have those clips and the laughter kind of included, unfortunately, but it was just a great experience to be in the room and have that communal feel of fans like watching some of their favorite moments, and like watching Ed By laughing at the clips will stay with me. And Lee as well, like he was so chuffed, wasn't he, to be kind of back up performing, which we've talked about.
I need to go back and watch the video now, because I just realized I was watching the clips when it was playing. I should have been watching Ed By, and so
I wasn't doing it in a I was kind of going back and forth. I wasn't doing it in a creepy, I'm just going to watch what Ed does kind of way. But it was lovely to see him really laugh on certain bits,
Yeah, I did. When we were on stage with Ed, I did do that once or twice. I sort of just snuck a look at him. And he was the look as he was watching a clip of Bottom. And there was it was just joy on his face. There wasn't kind of like, the stony face look of someone who
What was he doing with his hand down his trousers, though?
No, it would be easy for someone to be like, oh, this is something I did this was 12 weeks of my life, and and that's it. And it was 30 years ago.
Well, it was a lot of prep as well, I'd imagine. So it wouldn't just have been the 12 weeks. But you're kind of quoting Aid there, aren't you?
He is. 14 weeks, I believe, is Aid's thing. But
with Ed, you could just see there was just like real joy in it and pride in it as well, and quite rightly so, because it's still hot. It's, I was going to say holds up, but that does it a disservice. It doesn't just hold up; it's still fantastic
It still
now.
shines.
Yeah,
I think it's one of the all-time crown jewels of his career, and that's saying
mm,
something because he's done some
mm.
fucking amazing, amazing work.
So then after Edinburgh, we got republished with Wilton Square, the good folks at Wilton Square, who took on a few of the ex-Boundless authors, and they gave us a print run, which we've just found out in this past week. They said has nearly sold out, and they're about to print another one. So I
Which
can't
is
wait.
what
Way.
book publishers are meant to
Yeah,
do, isn't it?
yeah,
That's what
yeah,
I expected to happen on release day.
yeah.
Yeah, and
Um,
this time we might actually receive some kind of check in the post
yeah,
eventually.
yeah.
Don't
Unlike with
get ahead of
Boundless,
yourself.
where literally nothing arrived. But
But we'd ran
it's
off
not
with all the
about that.
money that everyone claimed for a while. And far
Well,
from us running off with the money, we
um,
have
this
none
is
of
it.
it.
We're just so glad that in the end, every backer got their book. Anyone who wants to get their hands on a copy now are able to buy it. And
mm.
we've actually still got some copies of the new Wilton Square ones that we're selling, direct to some people who want them signed. Or obviously we've been doing our tea towels as well. If anyone hasn't seen them, look on our socials. We've got a Lamb and Flag pub menu and the Hammersmith Bugle classifieds page, all
and they
lovingly designed by Stephen Pearson.
and they
Um,
are brilliant. They really
yeah,
are good. I mean, like
They
I'm really proud of
they
them.
always sell, don't they?
Yeah,
And they if I was not part of the podcast, if I saw that, I'd definitely buy it.
mm,
that's it.
Genuinely,
When
genuinely, I
we
think.
I mean, we wouldn't have ever had this kind of idea to start, doing merchandise as such. So in a way, Unbound, because it was part of their reward, um, the kind of tiers that you could do to begin with. They had like different rewards that you could back, and one of the ideas ended up being a Lamb and Flag pub menu tea towel, which we hadn't designed yet, but we thought, well, that might be fun as a bit
Mm.
of,
bit of objet d'art.
stupid stuff we can get
Yeah, full of
references on.
deep references that every single one of
Mm,
you will all get. But
yeah, and
the average
as
person would be like, someone who's not watched Bottom, what the fuck's this?
Mm,
yeah, exactly. Like really kind of like niche, but also,
Mm,
funny to anyone who might read it as well, because it's
yeah.
just sort of in its own way a really lovely piece from the world. And that's what
Mhm.
I've loved doing. It's sort of like this really shows how rich the world, the universe of Bottom is, because you can fill an entire classifieds ad page in the Hammersmith Bugle with loads of references from the show. And we're doing it as an homage, and we hope I would buy one. I absolutely
mm.
would. So, I know we're here on, just a few days before Christmas, but if anyone still wants to get their hands on them for prezzies, then do please message us on socials or email
Yeah.
us because we'll happily flog them to you.
Something
And then,
that we've skipped over completely, actually,
well,
because it sounds like we've already had a busy year.
What,
yeah,
We
Christmas?
No, we did a whole new series, put out
yeah,
the Many Faces of Rik Mayall
Oh
while this
yeah.
was happening.
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, outside of the book, or no, around the time of the book launch, we launched our new series, The Many Faces of Rik Mayall, where we delved into many of Rick's best loved and best known characters. And for me, that was a really enjoyable thing because we had the book
No,
thing going on, but it was great to obviously we're huge Bottom fans, but it was great to kind of expand that scope and just dive into characters like Drop Dead Fred and Rick the Poet and Flashheart and all these other great characters that Rick's played through the years. And to do that sort of deep dive exploration into them and then do the interview follow-ups that we've done recently as well. We've interviewed some of the great creatives that Rick has worked with over the years, like Dave Cohen and Max Kinnings and Colin Gilbert. So we've been learning stuff as well, and it's been really interesting, I think, to kind of delve into that other side of Rick's work.
I think
Absolutely. I've
genuinely
I've
this has
loved it.
been our best series. Actually, I think certainly in a while. I think it's some of our strongest work. The only thing that I think could top this that series would be us finally doing the young ones, which I know is never
Well,
going to happen.
No, it
oh,
is. He's bluffing you
Yes.
guys listening.
yeah.
Yeah, the New Year treat. Well, certainly early 2026 will be the plan, won't it? Will be that
Mm.
we're gonna do Talking Bottom does or on the young ones, because it's two series that we still haven't had a rival podcast come out and do it.
Well,
I really thought that there would be.
That's not the only reason. We're not just doing it to be first. We're also doing it because we do.
No,
I mean,
but
like we do admire that show.
Catflap.
I don't mean
Matt
for us
is a
to do it
huge
to
fan
be
of it.
yeah, I don't mean for us to do it to be first. I mean, I really did think in the last, we started in 2018. I really did think in the last, 8 years there would have been a Young Ones podcast brought to you by fans of the Young Ones who treat the Young Ones like we do Bottom.
Yeah.
For me, I place the Young Ones just under the bottom for the sitcoms. So close, so close. Do prefer Bottom, but when we did the Young Ones episode on the Many Faces of Rik Mayall, I had so much to talk about. I was like shaking with excitement that I fucking love the Young Ones so much.
Therefore, in that case, it's good that we're about to do this series where each episode will be looking at one of the each different episode of the Young
how
Ones.
We've done our normal format for Bottom.
But also, what this new series is going to do is it's going to lead up to something, which is so we're going to start the new series sometime, I think, sort of mid February, something like that.
Probably mid-Feb, yeah.
And we'll drop an episode a week, just like we always did with the Talking Bottom episodes. And this is going to lead up to our return in 2026 to the Rik Mayall Comedy Festival, which is going to run from May into June like it did last year. And this year we're going to be back at the Norbury Theatre, where this year we're going to be interviewing live on stage in front of a hopefully sellout audience, Young Ones director and producer, and also the man who originally produced Bottom and brought it to TV, the man I call the godfather of alternative comedy because of the work he's done bringing everyone to TV, Mr. Paul Jackson we will be talking to.
Fantastic. We can't wait. I mean, we have also had Paul on the pod, but just over audio for everyone to enjoy. And he gave us such a fantastic interview. It was split over 2, wasn't it, last time? So we know in the room we'll get so much even more out of Paul.
We were leaning more on Bottom, I think, with it as well, what we could say, but this one will be probably an overview of all of Rick and Aid's work with him.
The Paul Jackson interviews, the 2-parter that we did, is the one that when people reach out about the podcast, right, devoted comedy fans who go, I've listened, and they say, I've listened to this one and that one. The one that gets the most mentions is the Paul Jackson one, because he's done so much.
Yes,
because I think as well, so many of our favorite comedies. He directed, he's the guy behind Red Dwarf as well.
Yeah,
he produced
Red Dwarf.
Just one of them.
Without him,
just one of these things would be enough.
He really is, as you say, Paul, like he's the godfather of alternative comedy in this country. And without him, there are so many comedies that we wouldn't have actually had brought to our screens. So
he came to our book launch. He came to our book launch.
He's been really supportive, hasn't he? He came down to the book launch on the 3rd of July and really got involved as well when we were like smashing cricket bats and frying pans around the place, which was great because he was up against like obviously Lee Corns and Roger Sloman, who are actors, so it was really great that he kind of just got involved.
Do you notice he kept doing that when there were no cameras and when we were walking off into the train platform?
No, we're really excited about that. So yes, this is kind of an exclusive reveal of the fact that we're coming back to Rik Mayall Comedy Fest. We don't know the date and time as yet, but we know it'll be one of the evenings on the weekend is what we've been. Hopefully, like they're still scheduling basically.
Now, if it's going to be like last year, it will sell out quickly. So if you do want tickets, you get in.
Yeah, as soon as they make sure you're on the mailing list for the Rik Mayall Comedy Festival 2026. And yeah, we just wanted to do a little Christmassy roundup. We wanted to say happy Christmas to everyone. We hope you're all watching Holy, particularly the extended version this year, and enjoy it as you would with your glass of gravy. And we're definitely looking forward to 2026. It's been a long but successful year. 2025 ultimately, it's definitely could have gone a lot worse at some point. So I'm glad that all's well that ends well.
I mean, do you know what? Well, the thing is, weirdly, all I remember is the stress.
I think that's because you're so close to it still. I think as time goes on, the more you look at for me, I'm like, I look at the book, I hold it in my hand. That's
Yeah.
incredible. And then, it's now also, I mean, we've had such wonderful reviews for the book as well. There are enough
Yeah.
people have actually been reading it and feeding back, and
That's made it so worth it to see what people think about it.
I'll tell you what,
just to
that
see
really does
people.
help us.
The majority of people have been enjoying it. We've got 4.8, I think, on Amazon. What we would love to implore people who are listening who maybe haven't reviewed it yet is to go on to Goodreads and review us there, because we haven't got many reviews on there. So that would really help. Because obviously people go to these kind of review sites to decide whether they should, part with their money and buy a book. So if you have read it and you have enjoyed it, please do share a review
And
on Amazon or Goodreads, or I think you could do it on Waterstones and Foils and all those kind of places, but Amazon.
If you've done one on Amazon already, then please do feel free to also just cut and paste the same one onto Goodreads. I love. I was reading a few today, and it's great to see. There's a mix of ones that are very sort of genuine, and ones where people have really taken quoting Bottom to heart. So there's some.
I love how many people have got references to Bottom in some of them. Like, it's really fun.
Craig Nichol is very complimentary. He says this is mandatory reading for all fans of Bottom, Rick and Aid, and British sitcom in general. Alan Brindley Taylor says mine always seems to open on the exact same page. Also, I have to hold it upside down since this is how my eyes are. Sean Edwards says this is more entertaining than a weekend in sunny Doncaster or an evening in the Lamb and Flag. Mark Reed says, and this is something I really love, he says, my favourite current thing to do is watch an episode and then read the chapter on it, which I thought is lovely. So, because it's getting people back watching the episodes again, which is brilliant.
Yeah, which is why we did the pod in the first place,
Dave says, even if as a nation of shopkeepers who perhaps can't get down to Kempton by 3:30, or if you live round the corner from the Dole office, be sure you get a copy of this and have it sit proudly next to that second-hand copy of Parade or Girly World. It might also impress an impoverished countess with a smashing blouse. Even men of science will agree that if you can close the rhythm magazines, pause the bus serving, delay the crucial round of one-card slam, and stop watching the Ferry Honeypot adventure, your life as a comedy fan will be improved if you order that slap-up grill and buy this book now. Before he rolled it up nice and tight, even Terry Hardacre might suggest this is a must-read. And that's by Dave, who I don't know if he's a pair of trousers, but that's by Dave.
We met him in Edinburgh.
Oh, was that the Dave?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah,
that was him.
Yeah. He was there, wasn't he? He came along. Met him while flyering. Thank you, Dave. I think he was the first person to leave a review, wasn't he?
And the most references out of any review as well, by a country mile. So
he set a high bar.
Try and beat him. Come on.
Well, I can read you one more by someone who signed it as Foxy Stowe, and this might match it for the level of quotes. Righty dokey, matey bloke flap, old salty sea dog amigo, skipjack, jop strap piano tuner. Let's see you balls this review up. I had to yomp all the way from Goose Green to Stroud Hill and ask for £5 worth of this book and thought it would end up being crap. I read it while putting up with some cheesy dip from the fridge, which seems to be going round, I think. Apparently, after giving the book a good seeing to, I found it to be the original Van der Heusen. Hasn't had a wash since 1963, and it was a really, really, really good read and seemed to fall open on the exact page every time. Night, night, sleep tight. Hope the bed bugs do not bite. If they do a poo, put it in a Cornish stew, into the ambulance, tring, 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 fish, trousers, elephant, in Peking, saw a busy bee, diddle, diddle, dee, daddy's an accountant just like me.
Just like me.
Night, night, God bless. Yours sincerely, Foxy Stoat.
Yeah. All right. Lovely. That's just, I think, has no review content. It just quotes, but still brilliant.
It's lovely though. It is lovely. It is really, really fun to see. And then there are people who have sort of, dived into what it is like to actually read the book and what we've covered, and the fact we've done, Waiting for Godot chapter, as well as diving into Rick and Aid's influences. And then some people are just like, oh, it's just a guide to the sitcom.
That book,
even though it says that on the cover.
This book, A Guide to the Cult Sitcom, it's just a guide to the cult sitcom. Who wants to read that?
It's just a guide to the show. If you've watched it, you don't need to read this book. Well, if you do feel that way, then you're entitled to your opinion. We're sorry you didn't enjoy it, but if you do, please don't write the bleeding obvious. We sweated over that. We could have just done an AI whip up of every episode, but that's not what it is. This is not what it is. But hey ho, if everyone loved it, it'd be a dull world, wouldn't it?
That's been 2025 for us. So we're looking forward ahead to 2026. Hopefully other people who haven't discovered the book yet will discover it. if people are interested in are in the market for a couple of nice tea towels, a lovely bit of objet d'art, they'll reach out. We're looking forward to bringing our new series to the world of podcasts on the Young Ones, and also chatting with Paul Jackson. So hopefully it'll be a full year for us.
I know, at least up until June, hey? We'll see what comes after that. But yeah, I mean, I know obviously, Matt, you said how much you love the Young Ones. I want to say I do really, really love the Young Ones. It's just that I didn't grow up with it in the exact same way that I did Bottom. So I'm really, really, really looking forward to actually watching each one, revisiting it, doing our, deep dive, and really just considering our opinions on each one and
everyone wants
just
to
how
watch
brilliant
along.
they are.
Everyone wants to get back into it along with us. The new Blu-ray is out with loads of good features on it, which what a good excuse. There's commentaries on that, which is full of more interesting stuff because there's not enough information out there about the show. I mean, there's a lot, but still, go
I
for
can't
it.
wait. I haven't watched those commentaries yet, so I'm
They're
definitely going to be doing that.
They are brilliant.
And when we were at Rik Mayall Fest, we did say to Ed Bye, didn't we? We said, "Why isn't there a remastered Bottom with such things?" And he said, "Well, I'd be up for it." So as part of it, I think we do need to start a petition, to be honest. For a bottom remastered. But we'll see. We'll see what happens on that score. We don't have any power.
Right, well, thank you very much for listening. We'll see you again in the new year. Happy Christmas. Enjoy your gravy and don't chop your fingers off.
Merry bloody Christmas. Yes, enjoy. Are you a leg or a breast man, guys?
Bottom reference.
You're not going to answer that?
I don't mind as long as I get the head.
All right, well, enjoy getting stuffed. Enjoy getting stuffed.
Yeah. Okay,
everyone.
So see you guys in the new year.
Yeah, see you in the new year.
Happy New Year.
Bye.
Thanks for listening.